heal the mother wound and embody your femininity once and for all. Hello, my name is Chengi and I am your dating and relationship expert here at Black Swan Relationship Academy, where I teach you ladies how to present as a high value, high status, high worth woman that high value masculine men find completely irresistible. And recently I have really decided, I have been meaning to do this series of videos for you ladies, because this is something that has come into my practice perpetually. It comes into my practice all the time, and quite frankly it's time that we have the most difficult conversation, and publicly, because I'm on this, but I want to really bring this deep sense of healing to as many of us as possible as we grow and learn to release our feminine energy. Now, one of the things that I want to start off by saying is that the mother is is a goddess. Okay, she is the most revered woman in any culture that I can imagine. She is the most loved, and if you come from a culture like my own, your mother is everything short of a goddess. I think it's a fantastic, in many ways, a way of looking at the mother, because she often is the one that is left to raise the children. She's often the one upon which a great deal of responsibility, whether she's a married woman who with a loving husband, or whether she was the young girl that got pregnant at a young age and had to raise the child. At the end of the day, when a woman gets pregnant, she cannot escape that reality, unless of course she has an abortion. But going on the premise that she chooses to keep this baby, you know, she has to live with all of that. She has to carry the pregnancy, and she's got to deliver the baby, and she's got to, you know, really face the consequences, because a man can just say, you know what, it's not my baby, I don't care, and bugger off and leave the woman. So as a result of that, I appreciate and can see why the mother must be honored, because it's just a job she cannot run away from. And at the end of the day, the mother truly always does what's best for the baby. Unfortunately, the mother is a human being. The mother has her own traumas. The mother has her own stories. The mother has her own set of circumstances that she's having to deal with. And it does not, life and being a mother doesn't exempt her from having to deal with life as it happens to her. And often we are born to these mothers. We're born to women who are dealing with crisis. We're born to women who have trauma, either caused by our fathers or caused by their fathers or caused by life or caused by their own mothers, and it's just passed down. We are not being born to perfect people. We're not being born to whole people who even know how to mother, the aspect of mothering and how to truly fully mother. Yet for many of us, these were the women that we were left to in their care. They had to take care of us, and they did the best that they could in so doing, but it does not neglect the fact that there is a lot of hurt and a lot of pain that we as grown women are experiencing, that we are experiencing in terms of trauma that came at the hand of our mother. And because as children we're not wired to see our parents as villain, our minds had to find a way of coping and giving us coping strategies that did not leave us thinking mother is a moron, or mother is a beast, or mother is a horrible human being. And because we don't want to perceive mother as anything other than the perfect goddess that we love and adore, we also lock away the wounds that came at the hand of mother. Whenever, from the very first client that I've had to every client I've had ever since, the mother wound has always been way more profound. You see, having a father wound, that's costly. No one's denying the fact that having a father wound is costly. but a mother wound is way more costly. It's costly because we don't want to look at it. It's costly because we don't want to discuss it. But it's also costly because she was the one on the ground doing the raising. For the most part, the father, even in a healthy relationship, was out of the house, earning the money, making things happen. And she was our primary caregivers. And as such, she is the one that teaches us how to attach to the world. She is the one that gives us a deep sense of self-worth and self-esteem. She is the one that messages to us that we matter. The mother is the one that builds the reality psychologically, emotionally, spiritually, for the child to truly believe they count and they matter. And if she is not present, if she is not capable of showing up for the infant, the child in those early years, and helping that child attach to the world in a healthy way, then we grow up with broken attachment styles. The attachment styles that we then use in our future relationships, they come from how we first attached to our mother. And so a lot of it is, hidden under the carpet because we can deal with the moron dad. We can deal with the deadbeat dad. We can deal with that because it's so commonplace and because it's so obvious. But when it comes to really sitting back and healing this wound that has driven and defines our lives, that is hard. The wound defined me and my desire to be loved by mother, accepted by mother, is what in many ways fired up the need for me to be that what I did not have for other people. And for many years I soothed myself by being mothering to everybody until I realized that until I face that wound, until I look at it dead in the face and handle it, I was never going to truly be a whole woman. I was never really truly going to heal. And now this is not about shaming my mother, but it's about us all discussing this very difficult issue. Not so that we can go and harm or hurt her, not so that we can point the finger and say you failed me, but so that we can heal. And I want to share with you some 10 points, 10 mother wounds, 10 types of mothers and the kind of wounds that are created as a result. In a follow-up video, we will discuss some strategies and methods and ways that we can begin to address and heal that wound. And in follow-up videos, if you are enjoying this video and you're enjoying this series and you're sharing it and liking and it's serving you in the way that it should, we will then break down certain how to deal with those particular categories, because there are specific ways that we can begin to heal those wounds. Or of course, book yourself a discovery call with myself or any of the coaches and we can work through the mother wound. This is really, really powerful, and it doesn't just affect women, it has a profound effect on men, how they handle their relationships with women and how they perceive women. And to all children, when mom is broken, when mom is incapable of mothering, when mom fails to mother, chooses not to mother us right, the consequences are lifelong until we are able to really sit back and say, okay, I'm ready to peel back the curtain and go past the gloss and really begin to look at how I was mothered. And we can look at how to fix that, like I said in other videos. So without further ado, let's get into these mother wounds. Okay, some of us have to, what we need to realize is that a woman by her very nature is designed to receive, multiply, and give. So just as we take one sperm cell from a man, we receive that cell, we it's mixed up with our eggs. We create a whole human being and we give it back. We receive a house, we cook it up, and we give back a home. We are by nature designed to operate at optimal when we are receiving. That is where we're best. That's our superpower, is to receive, churn it, and give it away, right? In the absence of receiving, when we are unloved by the children, our baby daddies or our husbands, we have nothing to give to the children. We haven't got enough to share. And so often when a mother fails to mother, it's because she was not receiving anything, or she's just never received it, and so she does not have it to give. So in this instance, I want us to be aware that the unloving mother is often the unloved mother. But let's talk about the narcissist mom. Maybe your mother, if you had an amazing mother, congratulations. Chances are, no matter how great our mother was, we would have had some of these traits in her mothering. And some of us just lucked out and got the best mom in the whole world, and you were just so fortunate, you're so lucky, and God bless you. But this is for those of us who had a narcissist mom. This is a woman who made everything about her. You were born to serve her needs, protect her feelings, put her first. This is the mother who, if you do that, mommy's gonna be sad. If you don't do that, mommy's not going to be happy. And so the child grows up in a codependent way, where the only way the child can feel loved, seen, heard, understood, or known is if that child is serving mother's emotional needs, or that child is showing up for mom. And so the child becomes the parent, the child becomes the caretaker of mother, because mom is all about what happens with her. Mom cares only about what's happening with mom, and mom is not preoccupied with how she can best serve the child. So it is very possible for narcissists to become mothers, because what ultimately is the qualification for motherhood except that you have a working vagina and the right utilities in your womb in order to craft life? At the end of the day, people don't get a license to be a mom. It's something that nature just makes everybody. And we have women that are naturally narcissists. They're narcissists. They have the narcissistic personality disorder, and they have children. And as a result of that, they create codependency in these children, and they create this deep sense that you don't matter unless mommy matters. You don't matter until mommy matters, until you honor and respect only what makes mom's life work. And some of us were raised by the narcissist mom, and we have the narcissist mom wound. And this was the very first kind of client that I ever had, and the very first time it occurred to me, and those of you who know me know that I am well read, and I do a lot of research, but I really lean on the leading of the Holy Spirit to help me zero in on the problem. And I remember speaking to this client, and immediately I heard God said to me, she has the mother wound. And that was the first time I'd actually ever heard that, conceived that, or even imagined that. And as I began to dig into her relationship with her mom, I knew that until we were able to heal that relationship, and that relationship actually took 2 years to heal. And after the end of that relationship, she found the most amazing love, the most amazing fiance, and just a love that she could have never imagined, because prior to that she'd only been in abusive relationships, and she was literally just dating mom and following the protocol of having a narcissistic mother. And this manifests in ways where the mother calls the child names. You're ugly, you're stupid, you're not even worth the your weight in gold, where the mother was perpetually tearing her down as a little girl and exposing her to boyfriends who would molest her. And so this is quite tragic, but mom was simply a narcissist. She, whatever her story, whatever her wounds, she just did not play the role of mother, but constantly allowed her daughter to be exposed to so much trauma. And the only relief she could have was in service to mom, keeping mom calm. Okay, so if this is you, then this is a wound that we definitely need to address. Then we have the wounded mom, the mom who has been victimized in one way, shape, or form, and she simply isn't capable of being there, being present. Often this mother is sad, suffers from depression, is in many ways incapable of giving any energy out because she doesn't even have enough for herself. There's a mother that the child always feels like they have to protect, and this creates a lot of masculine energy in a young girl, and this creates a lot of uncertainty in her. But this is a mother who is in many ways wounded and hasn't ever quite healed her wounds, and shows up as fragile and vulnerable, and makes daughter feel that she has to protect mom and keep mom safe. And then we have number 3, your addicted mother. Yes, many of us, and this comes to my practice a lot, many of us are born to mothers who are addicted to substances. And often this creates displacement with the child, because often the child is taken away from the mother, and this is a deeply painful wound, to a point where many of my clients who have been born to addicted mothers really cannot fathom emotionally, even psychologically, why mother gave them away. Knowing full well that mom was addicted, there's still that sense of a deep sense of rejection that happens when children are born to addicted mothers, because it's very difficult for them to really embrace the idea that it was the best option for them, and that in many ways it was the most loving action that an addict mother could have taken. But we can discuss that on the healing when we begin to look at how we can begin to heal this wound. But yes, there are mothers who unfortunately have addictions and conceive their children in the middle of addictions, and often these children suffer from a lot of neglect, whilst mom tries to self-regulate through her addiction. This often causes wounds of neglect, and a child that never felt like they mattered, a child that felt invisible, uncared for, unloved, and this creates very, very deep wounds. The traumatized mother, the mother that passes down trauma. Sometimes, the trauma that we carry is just inherited. Stuff that she did not work on, that she energetically passes on, narratives. Sometimes we don't realize that when we have mothers that say all men are dogs, or all men do this and all men are a waste of time, that is in many ways abusive. But we don't see it that way because we feel like we're being taught and nurtured. But actually, this is a woman raising another woman from the place of her own trauma and her own betrayals. So we have women who are still very much regulating the emotions that came through trauma, and as a result pass that trauma on. And then we have the emotionally unavailable mother, This is a woman who was never there emotionally. She's almost like a caricature. She was the woman that cooks, that cleans, that irons, that paid the bills, made sure everything happened, but she was not emotionally available. She was not able to connect with her child. And with that comes a lot of guilt and shame. When a child is not seen or heard or is ignored, often the child thinks there must be something wrong with me. And so the child begins to carry a lot of guilt and a lot of shame that often you don't understand why you feel so guilty or so ashamed of yourself. And it's usually because you did not have an emotionally available mother. Right, and I know a lot about this. The mother that did all the right things, showed up in all the right places, but never gave you the time of day emotionally to really see you and know you and understand you. Then we have the competitive mother. This is the woman that struggles with electro complex, where the daughter grows up and she wants to be with dad. She wants to be daddy's number one girl. This is a natural process that is called the I believe it's called the electro complex. And basically it's, this love affair that develops between the daughter and the father. It is non-sexual, but there becomes a little bit of competition for his affection. Now, most mothers that are healthy will let that thing do its thing, right? Let those two be besties and let those two be like whatever they want to be, because she understands that it's important for a daughter to be bonded to the mother. But some women do not and cannot manage the closeness of their husbands, their partners to their daughter, and as such there becomes a lot of competitive energy. Mother and daughter begin to war for the affections of a dad. This is really where a man needs to be able to manage his harem appropriately, but the mother can show a lot of resentment towards the daughter because of the closeness that she has with the father, and because of the favor and the love and affection the dad gives to the daughter. And sometimes men will fail and neglect to show love to their wives and choose their daughters, because obviously the love of the daughter to the father is often unconditional, and the love of a wife to a husband often comes with conditions. So a lot of men will abandon their post as the loving husband to their wives and transfer that affection to their daughters. And this is something that I'm very familiar with, where my father was the adoring dad, the pampering dad, the very present and conscious father, but emotionally absent to my mother, emotionally unavailable to my mother. And he would always say, you never really know the love of a woman until you have a daughter. And what he was really talking about was this unconditional love that my sisters and I had towards him, but not realizing that in his wife there was a feeling and a sense of betrayal and resentment towards her daughters. This is not something that she's necessarily conscious about or something that she wants to promote or even is aware of. But you may be that girl who was raised by the mother who you were convinced did not like you. You always felt like she didn't like you, and there was a subtle resentment, and that again creates very deep wounds of feeling not enough, somehow broken, not woman enough, not beautiful enough. It takes a mother to let a daughter know that she is beautiful and gorgeous and fantastic, and you didn't get that because she was always putting you down. Oh, you've put on weight, why are you wearing that dress? It's not for girls with your figure, you're not very pretty. Yes, I have heard it all. I've heard it all when it comes to the mother wound, the woman who tore down, you're not very beautiful, you should smile more, because of the affection that she had for her dad and the competitive spirit and energy that mom brought to the table. Yes, mothers are not always perfect goddesses. Then you got the mother who has an unlived life. the unlived life mother, the mother who always wanted to be, always wanted to do, always wanted to go, and now she transfers her unlived dreams onto her daughter. There's a relationship that is highly pressurizing, that denies the daughter her own identity, and you can only be a woman, you can only be validated, you can only be accepted if you fulfill my dreams. I always wanted to be a nurse. It's your job to follow through and become a nurse. I always wanted to be married, so it's your job to marry anybody. I always wanted to be with a white guy, and so you're going to marry a white guy. I always wanted to go to this place or be this person or have this career, and because I wasn't able to live that life, and that is my unlived life, then the mother puts pressure on the daughter, and this pressure invalidates and gives us as women an inability to truly believe in ourselves. It gives us that complex that we're never ever truly going to be our own individual self, because until that ends in our heads, and the other one is the abusive mother. The mother that is violent towards the children in the name of discipline, but she's violent. She was very, very violent, and created a deep sense of a lack of safety. The father does bring protection, but the mother delivers the feeling of safety to the child. And when the mother is violent, verbally, emotionally, but physically too, there is a deep sense that I am not safe. This ignites masculine energy in us very profoundly. But this also really creates a deep sense that the world is an unsafe place and space for us. The next one is the mother that models broken relationships for us. This is the mother that brought in a stream of men and broken relationships. She models toxicity. She stayed with dad, but dad was toxic. She tried to make it work with dad, but the relationship was just toxic. So all she accomplished in her desire to keep the family together was to model toxic relationships for us and teach us that it's okay to be with a toxic man. It's okay to be with a broken man. It's okay to be with a man that hurts you and breaks you. And this is part of the mother wound. When we stick around with men that don't demonstrate or model love and acceptance to our daughters, this is part of the mother wound. And last but definitely not least is the broke mother. The mother who just struggled for money. This is a wound where the mom had to work every job that God sent. And as such, we have to deal with issues of neglect. The broke mother, the anxious mother, the mother who never ever felt safe. And because she never had enough, she taught us that we would not have enough. And many of us struggle financially because she modeled this inability to create wealth. Some of us are obsessed with wealth because we were raised in a sense of just not enough. We saw struggle. We saw our mothers struggle, and that created the sense that as a woman I must embrace struggle, and live a life that is way less. And so these are some of the wounds, but definitely the common ones that come into my practice. And it is without fail that every time we address that wound, there is such a radical shift and transformation in my clients that then creates realities that are beyond what they could ever think or imagine. And we're going to talk about some strategies in my next video that are going to help us heal these wounds, address these wounds, mindsets that we need to take, perspectives, paradigms that we need to embrace that will really help us heal our wounds. And some of the things that I have done personally, some case studies from my clients who were in these particular situations, what we did, to help them regulate, heal, and move past the mother wound, and even begin to restore the relationship with mother and really truly bring so much healing to that. I cannot tell you how profoundly this wound going unhealed can create so much trauma and so much difficulty in connecting with men. Yes, I said mother, but connecting with men. And maybe we've done the father wound work. Maybe you've done the work with R.C. Blake's, and you've done the course of healing the father wound, and you've really done that work in restoring that relationship. But maybe you're still stuck. Maybe you're not quite moving forward, and maybe this is time for us to begin to address the mother wound and really do that work in that place. Of course, the Academy has got many options. You can do the Soulmate Attraction System course that will help you deal with a spectrum of issues that often are blocks within our energy and moving forward. We have the Emotional Mastery class, again, another powerful course that really helps us understand what is going on emotionally and why we show up the way that we do. And there are a lot more courses that are going to be coming up: emotional balance and self-care. We're going to be really looking at getting the emotional space right, because to get a man is one thing, to keep a relationship is a whole different beast. And I want us to be emotionally regulated on this side while we're still single or whilst we're dating, to really put in order some of these issues and really begin to open our eyes to the realities of some of the trauma that we're carrying within. I hope that this video was very, very helpful. I am hoping that you will have learned so much from what I've shared with you so far. Do tune in to the next video where we shall explore this further, break it down further, but do leave questions and comments below so that I can curate videos that will really actually help you. I really, really want to help you, and my coaches and I are going to be on this channel throughout the month of October, just releasing videos every single week covering every aspect of the dating and relationship and marriage and divorce life. I've got coaches that are going to cover marriage, divorce, exclusive relationships. We're going to cover dating. We're going to cover strategy. We're going to cover digital dating. This is really very, very important. I know people don't want to hear about digital dating, but it's so important because this is how love is being found in the 21st century. So, we're going to be covering style. I'm going to release to you the full suite of what we all need to have healthy and wholesome relationships and reach 1 billion women, so that we can reach 1 billion relationships and really shift culture so that we can all enjoy our relationships and truly live happily ever after. So that's what I'm here to do. Do share, like, and comment, and I'll see you in my next video. In the meantime, take care of you. Love you lots. You are the girl that puts yourself last, everybody first. You are always considering the man in your life, making sure that he has everything that he needs. But why is it that you are always the first to be sacrificed and the last to be considered? Why is it that when push comes to shove, you are the one he takes for granted, and when the thank yous are being said, you don't even come up on the list? How much does it hurt when you are not the woman he finally chooses to make his wife, his bride, his girlfriend? So I want to invite you to the Nice Girl Rehab Masterclass. This is a free masterclass. It's time for us to win in the game of love, and I have 1 billion women to reach. So let's get busy doing that. Send the link to your friends as well. See you there.